Can you hear me? If anybody can hear me, put a comment in the chat box besides. I thought I'd do this again just to make sure that we get this on film and done right. I always watch the playbacks of my videos. Sometimes I don't like what I see, but this time the sound didn't come through, so let's try this again. I might not be on for a while because I got a lot going on. My brother kind of blew in here last night from his long distance trip. Can you hear me? Hey. Yeah, I had to delete my other stream because I've been having audio problems. My brother had a conniption meltdown last night. He came in about 10 p.m. and I was getting ready to wind down and go to bed. I headed into the bathroom as he come running back in. And I said, "What's the matter?" And I didn't hear him. Yeah, hang on. I'll have to set it up when I can. I can't remember how. But I'll set you up when I can. But, yeah, this is really important because my brother kind of blew in here last night. It was like after 10. I was getting up to go to the bathroom. I told him about my test results from the doctor. So, yeah, he came in, went to the bathroom, said he was tired, was going to drive home. And next thing you know, he comes bursting back in the door, turns on the living room light. And I asked him what was wrong. And he said, "I popped a tire on the car." He screamed it real loud. And I said, "Well, man, you don't have to yell." And then he says, "I wish I could just shut my eyes and die." And my eyes went wide. They went wide as saucers last night. And I said, "You really don't mean that, do you?" And then next thing you know, he was gone. So I had a hell of a time getting to sleep. I didn't get to sleep till after 2, maybe 3 this morning. So, yeah, what little sleep I did get, I got up, kept the door closed because I didn't want to have any noise. Oh, he left. He left. He left last night. Went home. But I got up this morning and I called my sister and I said, "How you doing? What are you doing?" And she goes, "Well, I have to go into work. I have problems at work I have to deal with." Hello. No, he just drove out. He kind of had somebody pick him up last night, I think, and he went home. No. But I thought he was going to do something scary. That's why I said, when he said, "I want to close my eyes and die," I said, "You really don't mean that, do you?" And next thing you know, that he was out the door. So I called my sister this morning. And I said, "Paula, you really need to get in touch with my brother John." She goes, "Why? What's the matter?" And I said, "Well, he came in here last night. I told him about my good test results. And next thing you know, he's yelling at me about one of Mom's tires on her car that had blown. I think what happened was he had damaged the rim on the car and kept putting air in the tire, but I think there's only so many times you could actually do that, and the tire gave, and he had to get the car back up into the driveway, and they had to call AAA or something this morning to get it fixed. So, yeah. So my brother came back today, and he apologized, but I couldn't even look at him. And I said, "John, you really need to go to the doctor and get a checkup. You really need to go to the doctor and get a checkup. I'm telling you." But you know how men, they have this macho man thing going on. "Oh, I can handle it. I'm not hurting. Nothing's wrong." And I don't know if I'm going to be able to talk to him for a while. because it's not worth straining the relationship between brother and sister if you can't handle the long distance job and then coming back here to take care of me. I can't handle it. I could barely handle it when I tried to film this thing before. And I don't want nothing to happen to my brother. I don't want him to have a massive coronary. That's why I'm keeping tabs on my health. That's why the doctor said, drink skim milk, cut out some of the sweets, and you'll be fine. I'm on blood pressure meds and vessel relaxing medication to help the blood go through the vessels. So far, I think I'm doing pretty good because I do not have cancer in my breasts. I don't have to go back for a year. But, that kind of got blown out when my brother yelled at me last night. So if I sound like a little crabby bitch, then you guys are going to have to understand. I'm not quite ready to lock eyes with my brother and talk to him. So, yeah, I can't. I'm not going to handle that too well. And I've even vented about it on my Facebook. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't have him on my Facebook, because he gives me attitude. Because I just logged off of Facebook for the night. I said, good night, everyone. Taking the night off. My brother was an ass last night. He blew in here late last night, and the tire on my mom's old car popped. I did not know, and he screamed at me. He then said, I want to shut my eyes and die. I can't take that anymore. He needs to see his doctor, and I told him so. Scared that he could have a heart attack or worse. After Friday, I will be in my room for a while. Come on June 3rd, and then I can get out of the house. I need a soda and then bed. My brother said that he was sorry, but I couldn't look at him. I'm so done with him. I hope his wife takes him to get that checkup. I pleaded with my sister to help me get him checked out. Yeah, health is indeed important. That's why I'm trying to get my shots so I can go to the gynecologist after that if I can get an appointment. And I got to get my tooth fixed. But I got to save up at least $1,000 for that, and I need a new power chair. I don't have Medicaid, so yeah. I kind of got the short end of the stick in terms of everything this year. But I'm really worried for him. I really am. And it's just one of those things, Men have this macho man attitude. They think they don't have to see the doctor. But after what I saw last night, I think it's well warranted. Because I don't want to lose my brother. I've already lost my father to health problems. I've already lost my mother to health problems. So, yeah. And I said, I can't do it. And my sister said, she says, I'll talk to John. Don't be mad. And I said, well, it's kind of hard not to, especially when you're dealing with your own travails. I can't look at him right now. I can't. And that's the first time I've ever said that. I can't do it anymore. Yeah. Because let's just say, my older brother, he's really the only one that actually gets the time to come in, take care of me. And then he got back from Washington State last night. He wasn't supposed to be back till Friday. No. No. Just my older brother. He used to work at a furniture store years ago, and then that business folded, and he got on to a job with a friend of his that's helping him keep his bills paid until he could find a permanent job. But I don't know much about if he's looking for work here or not. He's been kind of lackadaisical on that. And I think the stress of having to leave every few days to go on these little jaunts. He was supposed to go to Indianapolis tonight, so I don't know. And I said to my sister, this whole thing has got me in a knot. I can't deal with it anymore. And I've been very patient with him. A couple times he's yelled at me, and I've been able to forgive and forget. But this one, it just feels different. It just feels different. I think it's because with all the stress of the pandemic and having to deal with the outside job and then me, I said, Paula, we have to get him to the doctor. We have to get him to see his doctor because I think he's in real trouble. I don't want nothing to happen to him. So he came over. He had my niece with him, but I couldn't even stay to watch her. Yeah. And I said, I can't do it. I said, I got my cheese and chips. I'm going in my room. I'm going to have that. And then I think I'm going to go to bed. I haven't even gone out to get me a pop or anything. So I've been in here all day. I got to put my hummus away. But I think I can wait a little bit longer. But yeah, it's just one of those things. And it just kills me. I feel like my family is falling apart. Let me see. Okay. I had to figure out the moderator thing. So, yeah. But, yeah. If you know somebody that's going through, like, being short-tempered, yelling all the time, screaming, you really need to have them get some help. I mean, it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you any less of a person if you ask for help. I just don't want nothing to happen to him. My brother means too much to me. He has defended me from a lot of creepos over the course of my lifetime. So, yeah, I know. It's kind of hard, with the pandemic. And my twin brother lives down in He lives in another part of the city, down off of 33, way down off of Route 33, way out in the boonies. And it takes about maybe 45 minutes to get there. So, yeah, getting together is kind of a hard thing because you've got my sister who works in insurance and a husband that works in buildings, putting glass in certain buildings. And you got a brother that's kind of flying in and out on a mini job until he can get a permanent one. And then you got a wife that he's married to that doesn't really get along with me too well. So, yeah. I figured maybe if my sister gets word to his wife, maybe she'll push him to go to the doctor. Because I think I'm going to steer clear of my brother for a while, maybe for a month. Maybe I'll have to go and do my own groceries. But that's okay. It'll get me out of the house. It just makes things a little bit more difficult. So, yeah. Because, how can you help somebody that has this mentality? I'm okay. Everything's fine. Everything's perfect. When it really isn't. So, we'll just have to wait and see on that. But yeah, to take my mind off of things, yeah, I'll try. But to take my mind off of things, I checked out that new Rugrats TV show that everybody is so hot shoe about. And I was sorely disappointed. Granted, the original voice for Stu has died. The one that voiced Dee Dee has retired. The one that voiced Chucky originally in the beginning of the original Rugrats passed away, and then Nancy Cartwright took over. But the voices for Grandpa are totally different. Chucky's dad sounds like a whiner. The animation looks like slick plastic characters. And they turned Phil and Lil's mom from having a husband to being openly gay. I don't have a problem with that, but it just kind of throws a loop into people who remember the show. But, and I said they could at least have Howard on there if they want to do something about how to resolve that. Maybe they could turn it into like a story about divorce. Because a lot of fans that like the Rugrats fear that Phil and Lil may be adopted. But I don't know. I tried to sit through all 5 episodes, but it didn't really hold my attention. I had the audio on while I played cards. So that should tell you something. So I'm going to cancel Paramount Plus, that's for sure. I just turned it on today, so they could have the $5 or $10. It's not that big of a deal. I got my money back from the thieving cravens who stole my identity, so yeah. But I got everything all fixed on that front too. So yeah, I've been going through a lot this week. So that was no bull. So yeah, so I'm trying to hold on to everything that I can, and I'm doing the best that I can with what I've got. And I'm hoping that my brother-in-law will step in and help his other brother-in-law to get the help that he needs. And I hope my sister is able to help too, because I wouldn't call her unless it was something really important. And what I saw last night was not my older brother. And I think the stress is going to kill him, because he's been like this for quite some time. It all started like right after the loss of my father, really. We had to bury him, and then my mom got sick, and then she died not 4 years later. Then with all the stuff going on, his loss of his job and his other car breaking down, then my mom's car having a lot of problems, and then his wife's car having a lot of problems. And so, he's got to work that stuff out, or else it's going to kill him. And that's what I'm afraid of, especially when he says, I want to shut my eyes and die. That sounds like suicide talk. And I've already seen my twin brother lose a friend to that. So, yeah, not fun. Not fun. Because he was only in his mid to late 20s when he died. About 20 years ago, as a matter of fact. So, yeah. And that guy hung himself from a tree in his own backyard, not even a block or two over from me. So, and I didn't know that because I was out west when it happened. And my dad, who never cried, we got a call. We were in the camper at Rainbow Lake out there in Idaho. We went out to meet my twin brother's former girlfriend's family, and that was a shitty trip. Especially when we get the call that no family ever wants to get about a friend. And I thought, oh my God, I need to get in touch with my twin. And I talked to him. We went up to the office where we had the camper, and we called my brother, and I said, how you doing, man? He says, oh, I'm doing. How about you? And I said, not good. And I said, you hang in there, guy, because I said, we're coming home as soon as we can. We're not going to wait around here too long. We did not make it back for the funeral, and I'm kind of glad we didn't, because I didn't want to see him that way. I didn't want to see his friend that way. And I think what happened was his relationship broke down, and the wife was being a real prude, took his newborn daughter and left. And he couldn't handle it, so he went out, got high, and in a fit of despondency, he and a so-called friend of his hung himself, helped him, his friend helped him hang himself. And when his friend didn't show up for a pay-per-view, my brother Jerry went looking for him and found him in a tree. And my brother wanted to tear the person apart that helped the kid who did it. So, yeah. So you can just imagine my dad having to tell me that this particular person is not on this earth anymore. And he hardly ever cried. And I said, well, we got to get back there. And he says, well, don't worry. We're going to leave here in a couple of days. I just got to get some things straight, he says. So we packed up the dog about a day or two later, and we started heading back. And the only thing my brother got out of all his artifacts was a preserved rose and a black jacket with Ohio State's emblem on it. That's all he got. The rest of the family imploded because of that. And when my brother started going through what happened, my older brother started going through what happened last night, I definitely had thoughts about that young kid who killed himself some 20 years before. And I didn't want him to have a heart attack or even think about suicide. Because it's not worth killing yourself. You lose your job, you lose your job. You can't just let that whip you, and you can't take your anger out on your family because it's going to kill you. And I think part of the reason I don't have him on my Facebook, him or my sister, is because sometimes their attitudes get a little hot. They don't like me talking about things like this, but I have to deal with it. It's my way of processing it, and I don't want nothing to happen. So if anybody out there is having emotional issues, get checked out. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to kill you. I care about people too much to let emotional issues uproot you and whip your ass. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, I know, it's not a joke. And I would hate to have him kill himself because he was having a rough time. And I'm sorry about your uncle. I really am. I really am. And I thought the same thing. When my dad died, I thought, I might as well be dead. There ain't crap going on. I may as well just take myself out. But my mom spoke up. The doctor called my mother when I was in the office. And they had a talk for a few minutes. Next thing you know, he's in there asking me, so I hear you've been talking the suicide talk, right? And he kept hammering me, and I'm like, damn it, I shouldn't have told her anything. And he goes, well, honey, we just care about you. We know how close you were to your dad, and I want you to know I never gave up on your dad. They were going to put him in hospice, but I told him no, he says. He says, I was going to hope and pray that he was going to pop out of that funk that he was in. But this time, it was different. It was just his time, I guess. And then that's when they put me on the nerve pills, sertraline. At first, I wasn't happy about it. The guy writes the script, and I said, give me the damn script so I can go over here to Wendy's and get something to eat, and then I'll go home. And I cried in that office for 20 minutes. And I finally got home, and I said, here's the script. Can you go fill it for me? And my mom went and filled it. And it was the best thing she ever did. I could never thank her enough for that. Even after she's gone, I still cannot thank her enough for that. That's why when I hear my brother saying I should shut my eyes and die, it's time to talk to your doctor. But nothing has really made me smile. I had on a Bee Gees concert in here from '89, and I didn't even listen to that. So that just shows you how distracted I am and how upset I am. Maybe I wear my heart on my sleeve too much, but that's just who I am. I don't want him to die. I don't want him to get hurt. And I'm hoping my sister will keep me abreast about what's going on because I wasn't able to look at him today. And that hurts. I love my brother very much. I love him enough to make sure that nothing happens to him. Because if he did do what he was going to do, that I would have cut him off. I would have cut him off. Because something about him isn't right now, but I can't put my finger on it. It's either the stress of the job or just tired of traveling, but if he can't handle the job, then maybe he should quit and get like an early retirement or some type of pension, even though his other job folded about a year ago and shut its doors. I don't think they ever sold off any of the last product that they had because he worked in bedding and housewares. It was Macy's Furniture in Columbus. So, yeah. You've probably seen like Ace's Adventures or somebody doing a video of Eastland Mall in Columbus, Ohio, where they went over to the furniture store and took video. Because that's the building where my brother worked. So, yeah. And then when that job, folded, they said you could come back and sell off some of the inventory, but you'd have to give back your pension. And he told them where to go and how high to jump. He's like, no, I earned that money. I gave you 35 years to this company. And you want me to give back my hard-earned money to help you sell off what is now considered worthless product. He told them where to go and how high to jump, and I don't blame him for that. But when you're having emotional issues that are eating away at the bonds that you form with your family, something got to be done. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. But I have been really trying to keep things at a level, and I'm surprised I'm this calm. I would have been crying if I didn't have my pills on board, I would have been crying. So, yeah. So, the doctor was trying to take me off the sertraline, and I said, no, don't do it. I said, if I very rarely have I missed a dose, but sometimes I do miss a dose, and I can feel when I'm coming off of it. Because my nerves get my stomach in a knot, and you sweat, and you curl your toes and all that stuff. And it doesn't feel good when you see your brother hurting or your sister hurting or a member of your family hurting and you can't help them. I was just too embarrassed and too mortified to even look at him. I said, I'm just making some chips and cheese. I'm going to go in here and eat, and then I think I'll go to bed. I got an appointment tomorrow. So, yeah. So that's it. Not even that crappy new Rugrats held my attention today. So, yeah. So, let's see. Over the past weekend, we had some shootings in the country. So, let's see what Yahoo says. I heard about another workplace shooting. But, I've been kind of tuned out because I've been so busy with all the other stuff and dealing with powers and shit. So, yeah. Let's see. Oh, here's something new on Bill Cosby that just popped up. Let's see. Bill Cosby's petition for parole denied after he refuses therapy. So his ass got denied parole. And this came off of Reuters. And it says the Pennsylvania Parole Board has turned down Bill Cosby's petition to be released from a 10-year prison sentence for aggravated indecent assault, the indecent assault, citing his refusal to participate in therapy for sexually violent predators. Laura Treater, a spokeswoman for the state parole board, confirmed that decision, which was made on May 11th and first reported on Thursday by Nicole Weisensee Egan, author of the book Chasing Cosby, on her Facebook page. His spokesman, Andrew Wyatt, said his client expected to be turned down. We knew he was going to be rejected. He called me and told me that if he didn't take his course, he would be denied. He has maintained his innocence from the beginning. Right. He's now 83. He would have become eligible for parole on September 25th after completing the 3-year minimum term of his sentence. He was sentenced up to 3 to 10 years in prison and designated a sexually violent predator on September 25th of 2018 after he was convicted earlier in that year of rape of Olivia Constant and his former friend at Tempe University. The guy known as America's Dad has been serving his sentence in the state correctional institution in Phoenix, a suburb of Philadelphia. Treaster said the board would not consider Cosby for parole again unless he completes the sexual violent predator therapy. He must also overcome a recommendation against parole from the State Department of Corrections and maintain a clear conduct record. Cosby was also told to develop a parole release plan. She said the reasons for a negative recommendation by the Corrections Department is that Cosby's prison conduct record was not public information. Cosby had a hearing before the Pennsylvania Supreme Court in December on his appeal of his conviction. The court has not yet ruled if there's any evidence or any advance notice. They say he's doing as well as can be expected. He's helpful, Mr. Wyatt says of the Supreme Court appeal. He's cool as a cucumber. Right. Yeah, you could go on Yahoo to look at all the latest detail. So, they need to keep Cosby in prison. That's all I'm going to say. Yep. I mean, in my area, we had one person shot and killed last weekend. And in a couple other states, people were shot and killed. And then I heard about a workplace shooting here, I think it was last night, where a worker went in there and killed his co-workers. So I'm not reading those articles. I can't. People are crazy. And then I heard about a stewardess that got her face clocked when some broad wouldn't sit down and rebuckle her belt on the airplane. Yeah, you could look at it on YouTube. A stewardess got her teeth punched out by a woman acting the fool. In fact, somebody had filmed some of the altercation and said, the lady said, I'm going to sue you. And next thing you know, she threw a punch and her whole face was bloody. And then she was missing some teeth in the front. So, makes good sense not to fly on that occasion. And there's another reason why I won't fly. I'm afraid the planes will crash anyway. I'm terrified of getting on an airplane. Check out the film Miracle Landing with Connie Selica, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Because that actually happened. It was a plane from Aloha Airlines. It was flying a small route to another island. And I guess the protection around the top of the plane, the sealant, had come loose and all the rivets had pulled apart and the whole top of the plane came off, sucking out a stewardess. And everybody else survived. But they never did find the stewardess' body. So, yeah. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see. Let me go back here to YouTube and see here. Shit. Yeah. So, yeah. Let's see. MDR. Okay, Miracle Landing. That's the one I was looking at. I think it was for, I think it was for, this is it. Yeah, it's about a plane that lost its top. I think it was coming to the end of its performance life. But they have like a lot of documentaries on that on YouTube. So here's the film Miracle Landing. So even hearing the story kind of turns my stomach. I found one video on here earlier today that talked about it, and they had recreations of what happened. And it just turned my stomach. And I remember watching the end of that movie years ago with my hands clamped down to the table where I could just clamp my hands on there and I couldn't let go. So it always makes good sense. If you're too scared to fly, you're better off. Because it might jinx you in a way, But somebody actually commented on one of the videos that I shared with my Greatest American Hero series page. So I share like episodes of the show and various projects that members of the cast had been in. And one of the films was Miracle Landing. And somebody was talking about members of their family being on that flight and getting cut and burned by wires that were moving around when the top come off. And I said, I'm kind of glad I keep my feet on the ground. I cannot imagine the fear of something like that. But if you have the time, check out that movie. But I must warn you, if you have weak constitutions, maybe you shouldn't. Because I tell you, after seeing the end of that, just that few minutes, I was pretty freaked. And the worst thing was, my sister was going out to Colorado to visit a friend. And she came around looking for my Walkman. And I said, what do you need it for? And she says, well, I'm flying out to see my friend Becky out in Colorado. I'm like, okay. And I said, are you sure you don't want to stay here? I can get you a extra ticket to go and see the monkeys with my brother and me. And she goes, no, you go and have a good time. You can tell me about it when I get back. And I cried that night. She went and went down to bed, and I cried that night. My mom had to rub my back so I could go to sleep. So I was pretty freaked, yeah. But yep, you wouldn't get me to go on no Dago plane or no boat. I heard about the Costa Concordia. I'm sure you guys heard about that, where a captain was trying to do a sail by, and it got caught on the rocks, and it sunk the ship. Yeah. So, you could look at all that kind of stuff up here on YouTube. They talk about it. And they have like some audiobooks talking about the Costa Concordia. And, stories like that. They have a channel on here called the Flight Channel that does recreations of certain air disasters. They don't actually show people in the video, but like recreations of the plane, the conditions that it was flying in, and what happened, and gives you the ins and outs of what happened and what the results of the investigations were and everything. So check those channels out. There's one called the Flight Channel that I know that's on here. I know they talked about the Miracle Landing. But I think it's safe to say I'm glad I keep my feet on the ground, especially with what's going on here lately, with patrons being so unruly. It's kind of scary to fly, really, because the stewardess that got her teeth knocked out was defended by a guy who stood up and said, you don't touch the stewardess like that. Even if the person was invading your space, if they tell you to sit back down in your seat and buckle your belt, you follow the rules. You don't follow the rules, you don't fly. So, yeah. Well, gang, I'm going to get off and go get me something to drink and get ready for bed here before long. So, I know my appointment's not until 10:30 tomorrow, but I'm going to get up in the morning, wash my hair. I know I look like absolute hell, but I got to get my COVID shot, and I won't be back until about noon. So, yeah, because they say they give you a shot. They have to know what pills you take. I got to take my nerve pills and my other one for my blood vessels. Yeah, I think it'll go well. I mean, if my breast exam has gone well, I'm sure this will too. So, yeah, keep my brother in your thoughts as we go through the weekend. If I feel up to getting on and talking, I'll get on this weekend and talk, but I probably won't know anything for the time being. And maybe it's best that I don't, because, how can you help somebody that won't help themselves? Maybe, like I said, if I told my sister, she could get it to his wife, and then maybe she could push him to go to the doctor. Because, she could probably say something like, you really have Pammy worried. I'm sure she knows you apologize, but she's kind of keeping her distance. And I think that might be a good thing to do for about a month or so. I don't want to, but I feel I have to at this point. Because unless he gets help, I don't want to be around that kind of mentality because it'll lead me back to doing things that I normally wouldn't do, and that's drink. I haven't really drunk any hardcore alcohol since 2009. Maybe I had like 1 or 2 drinks over the holidays, but that's it. Other than that, I've been straight sober for well over 11 years, and I'm glad. I have to take care of myself. So, yeah. Keep my brother in your thoughts as we go through tonight. I got to get out here and put things away and get me something to drink. And I got to get me a good night's sleep. So, yeah. Take care of each other, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days. Thanks, Emil. Bye.